Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the Van Diemen Gold Project, hosted by International Star. Before we get started, what I'd like to do is go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. What I'd like to do now is review the functionality of GoToWebinar. We've taken a screenshot of an example of the attendee interface. To the left is the GoToWebinar viewer, which you can see the presentation. To the right is the GoToWebinar control panel, where you can select your audio mode. You should see something that looks like this on your own computer desktop in the upper right-hand corner. If you're listening in using your computer speaker, that's the default. If you prefer to join over the phone, just go ahead and select the telephone radio button and the dial-in information will be displayed. The attendee control panel will collapse automatically when not in use by an attendee. To keep it open, you can click on the View menu right up here and uncheck the Auto Hide control panel. So right now, I have everyone on mute to avoid any background noise that may distract you from listening to the webinar. Joining us today are Mike Shea, the CEO of International Star, our mining consultant, Joe Bardswich, and I'm Barbara Carroll, VP Project Development. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you all to review the forward-looking statement. So the Van Diemen Gold Project is located in the northern Black Mountains in Mojave County, Arizona. It's about 50 miles northwest of Kingman, Arizona, with a population of about 28,000. It's historically one of the most prolific gold-producing mountain ranges in Arizona, yielding some 2.44 million ounces of gold. And I've also listed here some of the deposits in the area that are hosted by the same type of geology, the detachment fault breccias in Arizona and California. So these deposits range in size from the Picacho mine of Goldcorp with 10 million tons grading 0.03 ounces to Mesquite with about 75 million tons grading 0.074. The closest one, the Portland mine, is one that Joe Bardswich is quite familiar with as he brought this online and into production. So what I would like you to note here is that these resource estimates were taken from figures that we had that were compiled in 1986. A lot of these values are much higher at this point. So what I'd like to do now is turn the presentation over to Joe Bardswich, who will walk you through the virtual site tour. Joe?
Thank you, Barbara. Good morning, everybody. This drawing will show where we're going from U.S. Highway 95, soon to become Interstate Highway 11 between Phoenix and Vegas. Vegas is to the north about 60 miles, and Kingman is about 55 miles down to the south. We'll go along this power line road, power line turns, and then we'll go on to existing BLM roads down through the claim package. These 10 claims were recently staked for a process area. These are the original claims containing the resource. Well, this is a shot taken from the 4-lane highway looking west. You'll see semis in the background here indicating easy access for supplies and materials coming into a future mine. Rosie's Den is just across the driveway from the chevron, and behind the chevron we're onto this power line road. You'll note it's 3-phase power. That power line goes up to support cell towers and microwave towers in the mountains to the north of the Van Diemen. But traveling west along this road, also notice the gravel, easy to upgrade that road, etc. The road then turns to the northwest. You can still see the power line here, so we haven't turned yet, but as we turn, we'll follow the road up past a couple of these power lines. And then turn left onto this BLM road across the flat area, headed west again. Again, notice the gravel, lack of outcrop, easy construction material, easy cost of construction. This is further along the road, and then we'll go and we'll turn around and take a shot back over the terrain that we just came over. In the foreground here is one of the claim posts from the recent staking effort. What really shows up here is the slope of the land. It's flat land, but it has a natural drainage to the east. And then the other side of the road, the natural drainage doesn't show up as good, but you can still see this large flat area that's ideal for putting in a low-cost process area for your ponds, for your heat pads, etc. I went a little bit further along the road and turned off on a spur road. Looking back again, we can see the slope sloping to the south. The other or previous picture showed it sloping to the east, so we can get that fluids coming off that heat to channelize into a corner and feed into the pregnant pond and the process area itself. From this side of land, if we turn around and look at 180 degrees in the other direction to the west, you can see the hump here that is the area for the ore outcrops right on surface. In this area, you can see old drill roads and drill access roads, drill pads, etc. Basically, the next shot will be taking a walk from that heap, looking back. The original shots were taken from the ridge here, but you can see my pickup truck is for scale in there. So this is a portion of the ore here. Very short distance to get over here to the process area. Very short haul distance for ore trucks going from the proposed mine to the proposed heap leach area. I'll draw attention to these white pipes. There's several of them here. These are the collars of drill holes drilled by Fisher Watt and Arizona Silver. At that time, the supervision on that, the management of those companies were the present claim owners. And when those companies released the claims, they picked them up. This is one of the drill holes. My click was too fast there, I apologize. But you see the white pipe with the yellow cap on top, taking the cap off, written underneath the cap, this hole. You see the drill hole number up here. It was drilled to 100 feet, 0 to 100 feet, drilled at an angle of 90 degrees. The records are kept right there in the field. Very professional job done on this series of RC holes. I'm still standing on that outcrop of Area 4, looking now to the north. You can see an old adit here. Obviously, this is ore. They went to all the trouble putting that adit in. You can also see the alteration in the rock and the mineralization that is also present there. So from the top of where the picture was taken all the way across this straw onto this adjacent outcrop would be ore that is part of Area 4. Up close, looking at the rock, you can see a lot of banding, a lot of mineralization, a lot of alteration of the rock, showing that the hot mineralizing fluids that came up have altered the rock and brought the gold into it. From this area, a portion of the met sample that was sent to Gene McClellan's met test labs in Reno. The crew here taking the samples. Basically, for a column leach test, you need at least 400 pounds. So a bucket full weigh about 60 pounds. So these guys put a little bit of effort in this to get samples from both here and from the Area 2. So we've come in from the highway along the road. We've turned. We came through the process area. Took this picture from the ridge, looking back on the process area, looking forward onto the area 4, the area where that portion of the med test was taken. Now we'll back out and then come down the road through the draw and come down to area 2. I'd also like to mention that Gene McClellan at Mestet Labs is one of the pioneers in this whole heap leach industry with the U.S. Bureau of Mines when I opened up the Portman mine back in the mid-'80s, and he was immeasurable help to us getting started on that project, and he's has a very good reputation as running one of the finest labs in the United States for heap leaching and metallurgical testing. So continuing on the main road and Barbara wanted me to mention that area 4 would be a good area for the proposed on-site visit by anybody who's interested. Coming up next month. Carrying on down the BLM road down through the draw, we've leaving the highway. We were increasing in elevation. We're over the divide from the detrital wash, Sacramento wash behind us. Now we're into the watershed of the Colorado River, going downhill to the west towards the river. The area is flattened out, but still not as rugged terrain, but still a continuing slope towards the river. How'd I end up going backwards there? Looking back we're down now at area 2 and looking back up onto area 2, you can see all the old roads in here, old disturbances, excavations, etc. Area 2 would be the area that gave most of the attention from the old timers, the original production that came out of the Van Diemen, etc. So standing on that hill looking to the west again, you can see a series of air track holes. The level of precision and professionalism isn't as great as there was on area 4, on the holes drilled by Fisher Watt, etc. But there's still good information came from these air track holes. Some excavation on the sides here. But also in this area there, Fisher Watt did drill the RC holes, again marked by the yellow caps on top of these white PVC 4-inch pipes.
So this was the next small hole that we both located with the GPS, yes?
That's correct. You can see this is an even older hole, old steel casing into the pipe, etc. Old tag on here that's unreadable, but just another indication of work that was done previously. This would be from the 30s. Back then they were looking at the higher grades following along vein structures within the overall mineralized envelope. And there's several of these old workings, pits, shafts, adits, etc. Good shot here of the different mineralization, the alteration, the different colors as the mineralizing fluids deposited the gold. Another shot of an old excavation, again dating from the 30s. This particular one with the sign danger, keep out abandoned mine. Especially wanted this one in there to advise people that this may look like fun, exploring old workings, etc. But you have the obvious danger of falling rock. Included in that is you may have shafts inside the mine that you don't notice, that there's a danger of fatalities from falling down those shafts. There's also the problem with no oxygen and the problem with noxious gases. So if you don't know what you're doing, stay out, stay alive. Further example, here's the old shaft. It's just a little bit further west from where the air track holes were, and you can see the danger of somebody having gone in there and crashing through those timbers into the levels below, and possibly fatality from the fall, or even fatality from lack of oxygen. This is an old claim post. This area has been staked, restaked as economics changed, and as throughout the years this area, again, heavy alteration, old workings in here, and just to the right of here is the area where the crew took the second portion of that met sample. And I draw your attention to the results of the met sample. The recovery was close to 70% at a fairly coarse crush of 1 inch. Again, compared to some other places, there's lower costs. It's going to be achieved here at the Van Diemen by not having to crush as fine as other people do. So before we turn and go back to the east, we'll go up the road on the left of the screen here, but this is the Black Mountains in the background. It gives you an idea how rugged that gets. So at this point, we're back out looking down towards the highway again. We're along that power line. Just in the general area over here, this is the Gold Basin area. Over to the right here is Golden Valley, Mineral Park Mine a little bit further into the Third Bat Mountains over here. Our main highway going along, I think I mentioned this, would become Interstate 11. It's in the parts of the Interstate 11 in the Wickenburg area are being built now. Some of the waste rock that's going to come from the proposed mining at the Van Diemen, we're only 2 miles away from that interstate, which is going to become a market for aggregate. So there's a good opportunity for International Star to sell that aggregate and have it contribute to cash flow as opposed to being just a cost of mining. We're out here in the desert. We haven't talked about water. There are wells down in this area that will put out a couple hundred gallons a minute. So the first thing that in terms of water that International Star would address would be drilling a well close to the process area. The fallback position is drilled down here where you know there's water and pump it, lay a pipeline and pump it uphill along that way. Did you want to add anything here, Barbara?
Joe, I think you're good on this. You did talk to people about where would be a good location for a mine tour for potential investors and shareholders. So I think you've got that part of it covered.
Good. The other thing I wanted to draw attention to people, here's our strike of the north-south strike of the Black Mountains. Close by are the Liberty Mine and the Gold Bug Mine, and we've got a couple of shots of those. This would be the Liberty added up in this area, mine dump. You can see again the coloration, obviously oxidized and mineralized. This is of what not to do, and what not to do is you don't leave a mess. It's against the law, and you'll be penalized if you try and do what used to be done. This gives the mining a bad image. I know that's one of the tenets of International Star is to do things right. If you're going to go mining, you follow the law, you follow the good practices, and you have to do the reclamation behind you. A better shot here of the Gold Bug. This is the head frame over top of a shaft. So they'd be mining underground, hoisting up that shaft, dumping it down this chute, and you've got a control structure here into the trucks and haul that ore away. And this is the traditional underground mining method that was carried on over the years through the Depression years, etc. This is not the situation for International Star. International Star would be taking the broad, lower grade, but much higher tonnage available in an open pit operation and heap leaching it. I'll turn it over to you now, Barbara.
Joe, thanks so much. And what I'm just going to do is turn this over to our CEO, Mike Shea, who's got some additional information he'd like to share. Mike?
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Joe. That was a marvelous. Okay. That was a marvelous presentation, very educational. And really, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And, one of our issues is that, we don't make a product and you can't go to the store and buy it. And Arizona is not exactly next door to everybody. But we did want to actually show you the mining project, how it's been developed, the drill holes, et cetera, where we plan to do processing. And I think that Joe did an excellent job in doing that. Joe actually lives very close to the Van Diemen project and is thankfully able to get out there and do some work for us, like these pictures and staking claims, etc. Really what it tells you is that International Star, the Van Diemen Gold Project, is well positioned in a very mining-friendly jurisdiction, great infrastructure, and verified gold resource. And ladies and gentlemen, really the purpose of today's virtual mine tour, previous webcasts, press releases, etc., is to demonstrate that we are a real development and mining company with a solid management team. As you look at the OTC market, and particularly the microcap mining companies, which we are grouped in, unfortunately, we don't make outlandish pronouncements such as $30 billion of gold in the ground, but no exploration done whatsoever. Hauling tailings from one place to process in a secret location, all without MSHA mine IDs or permits. Moving equipment to a Nevada mining claim without permits, or leases for that matter. And my favorite came up the other day, where they were turning over rocks and finding visible gold, or sticking their heel in the ground and finding visible gold. That's not us. I would encourage interested investors to review real mining companies, and you will find we are doing things the right way in accordance with accepted mining practices and in compliance with securities laws. I believe we are the gold standard in the OTC market. I believe that we are severely undervalued by any metrics. In fact, and I'll get in trouble with Joe and Barb on that, when we are in production, our net operating profit will be a minimum of $5 million a year. Recently, our stock has had some liquidity. However, I believe the overwhelming amount of activity is by traders, flipping for a tick or two. That's fine. I welcome the liquidity and want everybody to make money in the stock. As I previously mentioned in the past, we are exploring many different avenues to advance the project. Together with the SEC Legal Counsel, we are structuring a private placement via a Reg D 506C offering. The offering is still being finalized, but it will be either a placement of restricted shares with a warrant or an offering of a new series of preferred shares with a participation interest in net production profits. We believe that through either one of these structures, that we'll be able to raise the capital on a non-dilutive basis, because the shares will be restricted, to advance the project forward. To do this, we intend to have an investor meeting in Las Vegas combined with a mine tour in mid-November, at which we will be soliciting subscriptions for the offering. There are no guarantees that we'll be successful. However, I feel confident that participating investors will see the depth of management, the viability of the project, and the substantial upside to the investment. Details will be announced very shortly. In conclusion, we're dedicated to the success of the project and enhancing shareholder value. And with that, Barb, might you wrap it up?
Mike, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. If you have any questions, you can contact ILST at info@ilstholdings.com. And once you leave today's webinar, you should receive a survey on the presentation. We would appreciate it if you'd complete it, provide your feedback. You'll also receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to view a recording of today's webinar. So on behalf of ILST and our presenters, Joe and Mike, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and have a great rest of your day.